Hi, I'm Paul Antonio, and across on my Instagram, which is at PAScribe, I started doing a series of reels on the reversed English roundhand. And I was talking to a group of copperplate calligraphers about this, and one of the students asked me, why would you use this reverse English roundhand? Now just remember, Copperplate Script is not English roundhand. English roundhand predates Copperplate Script by a good sort of 250 years. English roundhand is very different in its approach, and there are lots of variant alphabets which require different approaches to write them. And the reverse capitals, the reverse English roundhand capitals, which are not mirrored, they are just reversed. They are called reverse because the shade is in the opposite place. So wherever you think that a shade exists in English roundhand or in copperplate for that matter, think of putting the shade on the other side. So with an A, you generally go up on a hair curve and you come down with pressure on that second stroke. Whereas with the reverse English roundhand, you have a shade on the first stroke and lightness on the second stroke. So this looks very much like this. So what we see is with Copperplate Script, we would have we would have this, and with the reverse form, I'm just going to zoom out so you can see my hand. I will do this twice. With the reverse form, notice I've gone from here to here. You would have this. So I'll do a slightly simpler version of that close up so you can compare them. So notice how the page is moving around quite a lot. So to produce this, I have to approach it from this angle, but because I'm twisting my camera, it looks like I'm doing this straight on, and I'm certainly not. So why would you, sorry about these angles, why would you opt to use English roundhand, this reverse English roundhand, versus versus a standard directional stroke where you have the hairline on the upstroke and the weight on the downstroke? This is a sort of fallout of long COVID. I still struggle quite a lot, actually. I struggle quite a lot with a lot of my words now. So why would you opt for this? Now, historically, people like Milnes, Shelley, Cocker, all these wonderful English writing masters used this form of reverse English roundhand or reverse majuscules to augment the text. So I'm going to show you a reason why you would opt for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a little bit of text with English, with Copperplate Script being the direction that you're accustomed to seeing it. That is a hairline on the upstroke and a shade on the downstroke. And then I'll rewrite that line of text with the majuscules from the reversed English roundhand. Now, because Copperplate Script derives from English roundhand, I'm able to use the Copperplate Script letters. Of course, I'm using my version of Copperplate Script, my PAScribe geometric Copperplate, which is very rhythmic and which works on the 55 up and down for the downstrokes and for the ligatures. So it's much more regular in its construction, and the ligatures don't go across, they go up and over and down. So what we see here is this. So if I was to write, and it's great that you're seeing that I'm having to turn the angle of the camera, which is the edge of the chair there, which is catching on my thigh. So what you would get is you would get this. Now, if we decided that we wanted to make something a little bit more interesting, we wanted to emphasize a particular word, we could do this. And immediately you start to see why or how you could use your standard sort of Copperplate Script letters with a reverse English roundhand. So imagine this in a block of text, probably starting a sentence, and you'll find that your eye is drawn to that sentence. So it could be that you're writing some continuous text and you need just a little bit of interest in the text. Now, of course, additionally, rather, the other thing that you could consider doing is, instead of a flourish, add a ligature. So we could do this. I'm going to get one of the other P's that I've done some research on. Where is it? So you could do this. So that requires a fair deal of planning to get that undercurve on the P, off the descender of the P to where the S is in, perhaps. So you start seeing a lot more sort of English roundhand shapes. Now just remember, when you're writing English roundhand, if this is your standard Copperplate A you may find that your English roundhand is more like that, and if it's a reverse English roundhand, you may have something like that. So really important to note that Copperplate Script tends to sit on 55, whereas historical English roundhand tends not to sit on 55, and the reverse English roundhand. So just be conscious of this. You are probably thinking that this is the axis of the script here, but that is the axis of the letter there. So quite a lot to think about when you are moving from Copperplate Script into English roundhand, and then the reverse majuscules of English roundhand, so that you can get the scripts to balance together. Just remember, they are not like using Cancelleresca Corsiva majuscules with Spencerian, because that's sort of 400 years difference when Cancelleresca was written and when Spencerian was written, because English roundhand is the direct ancestor of Copperplate Script. You can use the Copperplate Script minuscules with the English roundhand majuscules. Just be a little bit careful with the angle that you're working with, because remember, English roundhand tends to lean much more. It's a much flatter approach to the axis of the script, whereas Copperplate Script tends to be roughly between 50 to 57 degrees. I always write mine at 55. So you have to sort of balance the angle of the English roundhand caps with the axis of the minuscules of Copperplate Script. So don't try to flatten the Copperplate Script minuscules and as well as keep the majuscules from English roundhand flat, because it'll look like the whole page of script is just falling over. So you really need to be conscious about what this balance is between those two angles. And of course, don't just sit down and try and knock it out and hope for the best. Ideally, when I'm practicing my English roundhand letters, I actually practice them with a pencil. And I'll show you that so that you have a sense of how that works. Let me just put this ink away and grab a pencil. So when I'm practicing these letters with a pencil, I tend to use a 6B pencil. So let's keep that there so you can see what that looks like, and I will rewrite this word. So you really see how that pencil works. And of course, remember, holding the pencil this way, whereas with the nib, I held the nib in the opposite direction. So once you practice facing this direction, try and work with them facing the opposite direction so that you're starting to move from understanding the shape and the distribution of weight to writing the letter in the way that it needs to be written with a pointed flexible metal nib, because remember, historically English Roundhand was not written with a pointed flexible metal nib. It was actually written with a small left oblique cut quill. So there are a whole host of other movements necessary for a pointed flexible metal nib versus a small left oblique cut quill. So if you want to see those letters, I am posting them for the next 27 days, because of course there's an ampersand in there as well, across on Instagram. Again, my handle is @PAScribe on Instagram, so head over there and have a look at those reels, and you'll really get to see those, you'll get to see the letters in alphabetical order. Sequentially, I've done A, B, C, D, and E already. So it will help you to sort of see how this works. There is also a video here on YouTube which shows me writing a whole alphabet out in this reversed English roundhand, these majuscules in the reverse English roundhand. And that's quite interesting as well, because you really get to see my arm doing this movement for much longer than you do in the reels. So leave a comment below. I'd love to know what you think about this script. I'd love to see how you incorporate it into your work. And if you have any questions, by all means, just drop a comment below. Tools and materials. So I'm using some Conqueror paper that I printed lines onto, my own PAScribe 6mm 55-degree angle grid. I printed the grid at 50% so that I could, work with the ink and you could see it better. I generally print it around 10% when I'm teaching, because sometimes when I'm teaching with pencil, if the grid's at 50%, it tends to interact quite a lot with the pencil, making it a little bit difficult to see. I'm using a Speedball Hunt 22B nib. I was using a 101. When you head over to the reels, don't forget to click on the comment on the information, because there's quite a lot of text that I've put in on each reel. I swapped from the 101 to the 22B, and I explain that in the information, so have a read about that. And I'm using the Hamburg inks. So this was the, oh gosh, these glasses. This was the Leonardo ink, which is this really lovely sort of tawny brown, which is beautiful. These inks are excellent for pointed pen scripts. They don't work very well for the 101 because the 101 springs open too much. But they work excellently in the 22B, as well as the 303, the EF Principal, and a host of other nibs. I think that's it for the tools and materials. Obviously, I'm using my own PAScribe Penstaffs, and I think that's it. So super. So enjoy the video. Go back, look at it, study it, have a play with it, and tag me in the work that you do. I'd love to see what you do. I'd love to see how you add this into your own work.